extremely obvious that Kevin Stefanski doesn't mess with Shadour Sanders the way the outside public believes that he should. When you think about this process, it feels that Kevin Stefanski wasn't ready to draft Shadour Sanders, and then upon drafting him, he didn't put a plan in place to handle the person. You have to understand with Shadour Sanders is going to come more media attention, more scrutiny. He's going to be treated unlike anything else in that locker room or anything else we see in the league based on his position. He won't be treated like a backup. He won't be treated like a third stringer. He won't be treated like a practice squad guy. You're going to have to answer questions about him, which is why you need answers prepared.
Ryan Clark just detonated the Browns quarterback controversy on live TV, and he didn't whisper. He shouted the truth fans have been hinting at for weeks. He said the quiet part out loud. Kevin Stefanski never wanted Shadour Sanders. Not as a starter, not as a real backup, not even as a name worth saying in a sentence. The second those words hit the timeline, the internet exploded. And the question wasn't, are the Browns sabotaging the future? It was, how long has this been going on behind the scenes? It started like any morning on Get Up. Headlines, light debate, a few jokes. Then Ryan leaned in and dropped a bomb tougher than any blitz. Let's stop pretending. Kevin Stefanski never wanted Shadour Sanders. The studio froze because Ryan wasn't guessing or fishing for clicks. He connected the dots every Browns fan has been staring at and said what the building has been scared to admit. This isn't development, it's denial. And the denial started the day Shadour walked into the Browns facility and changed the energy without saying a word. Media showed up early. Fans rushed jerseys, and vets were already whispering about a laser throw he ripped on day 2. But through it all, one man stayed way too quiet. Kevin Stefanski. No praise, no role, not even a basic, we like where he's headed. Just cold phrases like, we'll evaluate in time, and he's one of many.
Man, some things that Kevin Stefanski is saying and the way he's going about things, some things are just not adding up. And Ryan Clark of ESPN basically exposed Kevin Stefanski this morning on Get Up. He had a very interesting take on Kevin Stefanski's motive. Also, this is all surrounded around naming Joe Flacco QB1.
Which is what you say when you're burying a guy without leaving fingerprints. Ryan Clark called it deliberate sabotage. Not a scheme on a whiteboard, but a slow freeze of a rising star, because the coach didn't want to manage the spotlight, the swagger, the primetime DNA that comes with him. Stefanski didn't want a phenomenon in his locker room. He wanted silence and control. And Shadour breaks that mold just by walking in and looking like the moment belongs to him.
That should be it in terms of seeing a dual threat at the quarterback position with extreme athleticism being questioned as to whether or not they could play the quarterback position. What's the problem? I see no problem. So I'm pretty ticked off that Ryan Clark deleted his tweet, according to the reports. Because what you take it down for? You were.
That's why Stefanski dodges the kid's name and keeps it robotic. Because the second he says it with any warmth, he admits the truth the whole league sees. The answer might already be inside the building. Ryan didn't need leaks. The silence was the receipt. And the NFL heard it loud enough to turn heads in every facility with a QB question. Watch Stefanski at the podium and you'll see it. He doesn't rant or rage. He repeats cue card lines like a script. We trust the process. Competition at every spot.
And yesterday, he wouldn't even go so far as, and I understand your point about maybe it's not a great thing to be the number 2 on the depth chart. Okay, we'll get into that. I understand what you're talking about, but there's just a principle involved here where at least you acknowledge that by default, just by default, Flacco is now gone, Kenny Pickett's now gone, just by default, Shedeur moved up a slot. Yeah.
We'll evaluate when the time is right. But when reporters steer to Shadour, the temperature drops, the smile fades, the answers get clipped, and he says, the player, the prospect, the kid, like he's a file in a cabinet, not a quarterback in his building. That's not an accident. That's a choice, because in a league built on confidence, personality, and production, Shadour brings all 3 in heavy doses, and that threatens any coach who wants quiet over juice. Stefanski isn't slow playing development. He's muting it. You hear praise for other rookies and their upside every week, but when it's Shadour, the room goes silent, like one compliment might spark a movement overnight. That movement already exists. Players watch a little closer when he spins it in drills. Reporters nudge when he rips a seam shot on time. And even vets whisper, "That's a Sunday throw," under their breath. Let's be real. Shadour doesn't scare Stefanski because he's raw. He scares him because he's ready. He walks like a pro, studies like a pro, and throws like a franchise. And that kind of presence forces hard choices. Instead of embracing that presence, the staff built a wall of vague quotes and passive decisions, keeping Shadour outside the real conversation, hoping the noise dies. But after Ryan's bomb, the whole country heard the echo. If silence was the first weapon, the depth chart was the trigger. Update lands. Joe Flacco, quarterback 1, Bailey Zapp, quarterback 2, Shadour not listed, and Cleveland went nuclear in 10 minutes. Clips flooded X, IG, and TikTok. Shadour firing perfect outs under pressure, diagnosing coverage like a vet, commanding huddles like it's his birthright, then side by side with Zappy airmailing slants and missing wide open looks like they were in a different zip code. This wasn't a debate, it was an indictment. And hashtags popped in real time. Hashtag free5, hashtag start5 now, hashtag Stefanski sabotage, with non-Browns fans piling in because the film didn't lie.
Dylan Gabriel was bad. Kevin Stefanski was bad. The receivers were bad. Hospital balls, drop balls, super sacks, interceptions dropped. It was just bad all the way around.
Analysts posted camp splits, pressure completion, pocket feel, tempo drives, numbers tilting to Shadour while he's still getting frostbitten on opportunities, and fans called it what it looked like, a PR play that ran out of gas. They drafted the name, posted the jersey, pushed the hype, then tucked the player away like a display piece while rolling out a depth chart nobody could defend with a straight face. Within hours, Shadour suppression turned into a movement. Fans stitched breakdowns, called out coaches by name, and even former players subtweeted, "What's going on in Cleveland?" And the Browns said nothing. No clarity, no plan, no accountability, just more silence, which only made Ryan Clark's words look like prophecy and the depth chart look like a smoking gun. You don't bench a Ferrari and hand the keys to a lawnmower. Not in a league where every snap, every look, and every meeting leak goes straight to the internet bloodstream. Here's the part the team can't control. You can quiet pressers and shrug off talk radio, but you can't fake the vibe in the locker room, and in Cleveland, that vibe just shifted hard. At first, it was side eyes during quarterback drills and rolled eyes when a dime got ignored. But after that depth chart fiasco, whispers got louder. The coach is losing the room, and not because Shadour asked for drama. He didn't tantrum, didn't leak, didn't play the victim. He kept showing up, locked in, calm, prepared, doing everything the staff said they wanted, and still getting iced out while lesser play got rewarded. Locker rooms are pressure cookers. They expose fear, favoritism, and fraud. And insiders say more players now quietly back Shadour for real reps because they've seen enough with their own eyes. They've watched him handle blitzes like a grown-up, rip timing throws into windows, reset and do it again, then watch Zappe struggle to complete a simple screen and Flacco talk tough while his feet stayed stuck. That's when players stop believing in speeches and start believing in each other. And right now, they believe the competition is fake. The plan is about control, and the best man isn't even getting a fair lane. Coaches like Stefanski want system-first quarterbacks. Quiet, compliant, check down heavy. But Shadour doesn't break the system. He becomes it. And that's the identity this offense keeps pretending it doesn't need. You can't preach next man up if your best man isn't allowed in the room, and you can't preach earn it if the guy who earned it can't touch a rep with the twos. That's how trust cracks while everyone smiles for the cameras. Want the unfiltered version while it's hot? If you're rocking with this breakdown, like and subscribe so you don't miss the next pivot when it drops. Then came the quiet lightning from Coach Prime. One cryptic line that shook every feed. When you bury talent, don't act surprised when the light breaks through the dirt. No tags, no names, just smoke. And everyone knew who he meant. Because when Dion talks, it's not a post, it's a headline. And he just put a shadow over every snap the Browns take until this gets fixed. Now, Cleveland isn't just fighting local pressure. They've got national eyes and primetime energy watching every decision. And that heat doesn't cool with a Monday presser. Ryan Clark didn't stop at sabotage. He elevated Shadour into rare air with one name, Kobe. This feels like young Kobe, he said, talent on fire, stuck under coaches trying to manage what they should be unleashing. That comparison hit like freight. Not the polished champion, but the raw phenom who refused to be boxed in. And Ryan basically said Stefanski is making that same old mistake. He didn't compare Shedeur to a prospect. He compared him to a legend, which means the judgment isn't just on the player. It's on the people who think they can dim him into fitting a smaller plan. Old school coaches still try to break a star before they build one, but guys like Shadour aren't cocky. They're ready, and every second you spend trying to humble them only supercharges the fire. Ryan's Kobe comp forced the only question that matters. Are the Browns developing Shadour Sanders, or are they dimming him to protect the system that's afraid of his light? Once that hit, the floodgates opened. Shows ran segments, fans held signs, and neutral analysts said the quiet part. This isn't about talent, it's about control. Stands lit with let five, cook, and bench politics, not players. Insiders whispered that other teams are watching, trades got floated on air, and suddenly Stefanski wasn't answering to Berea. He was answering to the nation. Cleveland wanted quiet. It got chaos, and nobody buys trust the process when the process looks like a wall built to keep a quarterback out of his own destiny. Time isn't a friend here. The clock is running, trade chatter is real, and the locker room is going quiet in all the wrong ways, while the outside noise keeps getting louder. Start Shadour now, and Stefanski admits he was wrong. Keep benching him, and he risks losing players, fans, and the last pieces of credibility holding this together. Every snap Shadour doesn't get is now national news, and every non-answer looks like a red flag. The league isn't waiting, and Shadour is just getting warmed up. Ryan Clark didn't create this storm. He exposed it. And what's happening in Cleveland isn't about a playbook anymore. It's about fear, ego, and a coach trying to control something too big to contain. Shadour isn't waiting to be molded. He's ready to lead. And the longer the Browns try to hide that, the brighter the spotlight gets. Because when he finally steps on the field, whether in Cleveland or somewhere else, everyone will remember who benched him and who believed too late. Here's the football math that never lies. The Browns have defense, weapons, and a city starving for a quarterback who can stress safeties and attack the seams, and Shadour checks those boxes without a speech. Load him with real first-team periods, script a tempo opening that lives in the 10 to 18-yard window, and let him build rhythm with Amari, Elijah, and Njoku. Then let the tape decide, not the politics. Staying the same is the risky choice now. The bold move is the safe move, and everyone in the building can feel it when they look each other in the eye on Monday. If you want more honest breakdowns without the fluff, tap subscribe and stick with us, because the next depth chart update might be the moment Cleveland finally admits what the film said weeks ago. Bottom line, start Shadour Sanders and see if the offense wakes up. If it pops, don't overthink it. Keep the hot hand rolling and let the defense keep doing championship things while the building breathes again. The city sees it, the media said it, the captain hinted at it, and the film won't shut up. The Sanders era isn't a rumor. It's a knock at the door with a helmet on and a play sheet in hand. Drop your takes below, smash like, and subscribe for the next chapter, because this decision is coming fast and you'll want to be here when the headset finally catches up to the truth.